Hey, good evening, everybody. If you're here, we're so happy that you were able to make it. Um, can you turn the music off, please? We're so happy. Off. We're so happy that you are able to be here, and we're grateful for what God is able to do. So before we get started, I'd like you just to stand so we can have prayer, and then we'll continue from there. Let's pray. Lord, we are grateful for your goodness, your mercy. We thank you that this conversation will be enriching and empowering for those who are amongst us. We thank you for your goodness and your mercy. Let this conversation allow people to grow and get better at who they are. In your name we pray. Amen. I want to be able to invite First Lady is here, introduce the people who are on our panel. We're so grateful for them being bold and courageous enough to be able to be here. So we're just so grateful for them taking the time. So First Lady, we've been married now going on 18 years in August. So we're looking forward to this. We have a conversation about our ups and downs and in-betweens. We also want to welcome Sister Nicoletta, who's outspoken. You can give her a clap because a lot of people are not bold enough to come. You can sit right here in the middle, and she will give an introduce. And then we have our resident experts here. You can sit down over there, Sean. The resident experts, who not the longest married couple in our church, but the second, right? I think it's the second, officially the second, because we have Pastor Reimer and Deacon Danley. They're married 50 years, right? Yeah, 50 years. And they are going in now to their 47th year of marriage. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. That's in this world. So we want to welcome Senior Pastor Emeritus, First Lady Emeritus, Reverend Dr. Melvin A. Turnbull, to the stage as well. We have some mics, we could pass them over. Maybe you turn them on as well. All right. Now, we have mics out there, so we're going to make sure that we're able to ask and have an honest conversation. Now, these conversations that we're having are not limited. We have a period of time, maybe like 90 minutes, but we also have some moments that we will be able to share and gather with each other. So we are looking forward to that. So I want us to really look forward to having a great and honest conversation. We're looking forward to this as we have people who are bold and honest. Please ask your questions, okay? Because up here are not people who are perfect or have it all together. But up here are people who have been trying to do life. And life, as we know, is not easy at all. It is not easy at all. So we want us to go forward, to have a great time, and to be able to do this together. Yes? So I want to be able for you guys to introduce yourself in any way in which you feel, but give your relationship bio, even if I didn't cover it. All the best. Your relationship bio, yeah? All right.
Okay, I'll start off. So, relationship bio, you already heard how many years we've been married. Dr. Mike and I met in divinity school at Howard University School of Divinity. So, we were classmates. We met in orientation. I met this young man on the end at orientation. Now, the thing is, I was so excited because I thought I was the youngest person in this graduate program because I was 21. And look who's in line in front of me, Dr. Mike. He was only 20 at the time, and so he just beat me. And so that already piqued my interest. Like, who is this young man who's already interested in going into ministry at so young an age? And so for the first year, we were friends. The second year, we dated. The third year, we were engaged. And then after graduation, we got married. So that's our story in a nutshell.
Hello, good night. I am Nicole. I was married for 11 years, and I was meet my husband. I was just a subject as well on the Facebook the other day and say how you know your husband at 15. I meet my husband at 15. We was just friends until 18 because you cannot do nothing until 18. It's like that. Then I married at 20, and at 21 I have my lovely daughter, 22, to 4 days ago. And I was married for 11 years. And today divorced and single for like around 12, 13 years now. Yep.
Good night. My name is Marion. We've been married for 46 years, going into 47, October 28. Yeah, not my age. It's not my age, it's how long we've been married. How we met, we've always known each other. He was a youth fellowship leader, preacher, pastor. Yeah, grew up together.
Yeah, well, what she said is true. So we grew up together, and as mentioned, we were in youth fellowship together, in church together. And then one night, where I worked, had a party. So I invited somebody to go with me. At the last minute, they decided not to go. So I had to ask somebody else to go with me. First of all, I had to ask their parents to make sure, because that's the way we did it back then. And guess who it was? It was her. And after we went out, just on a regular outing, I began to see her differently. So she was no longer just a youth fellowship person. She looked like somebody I could spend the rest of my life with. So we got talking, and from there we started seeing each other. And you may not know this, but she used to sing a lot. And back in the day, they used to refer to her as Mahalia Jackson. And my way of getting close to her was trying to do duets ever so often. So we did a lot of duets together. And so now it's history. We've been married for 47 years this year. And I'll let you know that none of us is perfect. And I always say to folks that if you found a perfect person, leave them alone, because you're going to mess them up. So we don't have a perfect marriage. We have a growing marriage. I would say it's really good, but it's not perfect, because we are not perfect. So we'll talk about that some more, because a lot of people think you have to be perfect. You just have to be real and honest.
All right. So we want to be able to gain questions from you. And as we go in the conversation, when we go through this, we want to be mindful and helpful to people that will be watching. So, I want to tell you, and anyone can answer these questions, is marriage, relationships, is that still something that's important? Because people have money, education, this stuff. Why is it important? Why should we even have a conversation about this, or have a whole panel on Wednesday at church about this?
For me, I think that, definitely relationships are important. And that covers the ground. So it could literally be relationships as far as friendships, romantic relationships, etc. But one thing as it relates to marriage, I think that oftentimes, I'll throw a little, controversy in. I think a lot of times that people make marriage as an idol. And they say that, everyone is looking forward to this one magical person who completes them, and it's going to be a fairy tale like the movie, or some people are feeling less than because they're not married, as if it is this pinnacle of success. And I don't think that marriage is necessarily the pinnacle of success, because in your singlehood, that's when you have a lot of time to get to know yourself, build your relationship with yourself. You can explore other relationships, see what you like, see what you don't like. So there's benefit to it both. And for some people, marriage may not be in the future, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you are less than of a human, or God loves you less, or anything like that. But I also think understanding relationships, understanding the relationship with yourself will help you if you do get to that point where you're in a romantic relationship, you're in a partnership with someone.
Yeah, Nicole,
That will be just going how I meet my husband. I was meet my husband in a wedding, and he was a very bad dancer. And I love dancing. And I say, you owe me a dance if I'm coming to that wedding. And I go, and he danced. And I was 3 weeks, we make a wedding. Somebody say like, why you not married? You have everything. You have this, you have business, you have your own home. Yeah, why you still together and you're not married? And there are like some people on the front of the building and just talking and say, why? We just go inside in the house, and he say, you know what, let's marry it. And I say, you asked me to marry it with you? And he say, yeah, just go by your drain, you're picky, and let's do that. That was asked me to get married. And we married in 3 weeks, and I said to everybody who wants to come to wedding, come, if not. It's just on the 28th of October, I remember like yesterday. It was the only day when the restaurant was open.
Do you realize that
Yes.
you guys were married on the same day?
Oh, yes.
The
Yeah.
28th of October.
Yes.
October
Yes.
28, yeah. Yeah.
Not that year, sir, but
Not the same year, but same
But
date,
yes.
yeah.
yeah.
So, do you believe that relationships, marriage, that stuff is still important? Even like today, you're a businesswoman, you're successful, what is
100%.
why?
100%. It's I'm always fight for, like I say, I can be in relationship or boyfriend, or like I'm always say dating. You reach a point of your life when you really want to come to someone home. You want to sitting down. It's not just a marriage or the wrote it down, but it's important because it's that contract, how you contract for a business or you contract for anything, is give you the stability of your own things. And anyway, I always say God owns everything, but it's give you that stability as a woman or as a man as well. It's not just for a woman, but both of them have the stability coming home and be at the same table and not be afraid to know, oh, he's coming home today or not coming home today, or she's coming or not coming.
So we have Pastor Mel there, who I call on the panel as our resident expert, which he is. You may not know, but he's one of the few certified marriage counselors, American Christian counselors of marriages. He's been doing it 47 years. And then on Saturday, I found out one of his first marriage therapy sessions was with his parents. He sat his parents down and had a marriage therapy session. So we're going to make sure the hard and questions are for you. These questions, but even for you have, which a lot of people don't know, you have a master's, these things, all these accolades. Is really, you see how much things have changed from 47 years ago to now, right? A lot of things have changed. Is it still something that, if you had the chance, would you do again? Would you see it's still important? Why do it? Why try? Because there's so much people that it doesn't last.
Yeah, I think I'll do it again. I'll do it again, but to the same person. But about relationship, I think relationship is the foundation of anything. Once you build a relationship, you are friends, it lasts. It lasts for a long time. And that's what we did, in the 70s. We were friends, and then we became more friends. And then we built a relationship that where we were able to talk and discuss, we were able to, read books and discuss them. But I think it's important, marriage is important in today's world, especially when you're thinking about children and family, to have that confidence in somebody or somebody having that confidence in you, and then you be able to go home and have a stable home. You know you have somewhere to go and someone who you can talk to, who can trust you, who you trust. It's so important to have that, and marriage is still the best thing going.
So I'm gonna save some. Wait. We had 3 answers on that. We'll save some hard questions for you. Now, we only have one person who knows. Can you describe, because we need this, we had a balance. We had 2 other panelists and they chickened out. That's what I call it. They chickened out. This thing was planned 2 months ago, they chickened out. That's what I'm gonna say. Shame on you. Hope you're watching. You know I'm petty. Y'all know I am. So, Nicoletta, in this 2025, in these Andrew Foy and Natalia streets of the BVI, from a scale from 1 to 10, how hard is it to date people here in this BVI? And when you answer, say, like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
It's not just the
Other
bad and
people
ugly.
were single as well, right? So they would have, so.
First, it's like the misunderstanding. You're coming from another country. You're coming with the lack of good communication, and you cannot speak on your. And I try to tell everybody, try to just put a proposition in another language and try to translate yourself in English on your head. It's exactly what we do that every single day. And it's hard. And that's the communication lack. It's really a huge point. Sometimes you just, not sometimes, I can relate myself when I arrived in the BVI, I was in the situationship just because the lack of
Sorry,
not
explain.
speaking.
All right, well, we were waiting now for the second half of our show. We're starting off really slow. Seeing that we have galloped into this, what we put this on
Situationships, yeah?
there is marriage, relationships, and situationships. So that was a very red table talk moment that my wife introduced me to with Jada Pinkett Smith,
Situation.
where she said she was in an entanglement that ended up being a situationship, where people are in relationships. They could be married or not, but in relationships with other people. Sometimes the other people don't know that they're in a relationship or with someone else. Sometimes some people are saying that we're in a committed relationship. The other person is saying, not really. You, my friend, when there is a misunderstanding of the expectation of your relationship,
Yep.
it is now coined a situationship. Because nobody really knows. One person may have an understanding, the other person may not.
Yep.
And some people who are married find themselves in situationships. So we need clear expectations. Continue.
Yeah, it's how I say whatever. It's like how we put the, to be in this situationship sometimes happen just for lack of communication and you not understand. And trust in your people, like people who are around you, you trust. Because you see that person married with 2 kids and you show up on something like I was like, what the heck is this? Or,
Sorry, you said what now?
Nothing.
Come again? Explain that. I'm sorry. All right, we want the tea, right? Everyone,
Yeah.
let's get the tea. Right?
It's,
What were you saying? You were saying what?
the friends, like
Uh-huh.
that's your friends, like your close friends you trust because it's the only people you have around. You don't have no family, you don't have other people's than people's who it's at work or somebody who is by the bar after 5 you coming down to have a beer or club soda. And that's one of the situationship on a lot of cases here, as well as the culture. You see, I'm coming from a very strict family where I was going in the church. I was need to marry to be virgin person. Like I was just a naughty person. I married with my husband because my mom say you go to marry with him, and I married with a person who I don't know too much, and I was a child. I was married at 20, and at 21 I have my daughter. I'm not saying I want to take back all because it's experience, and I am who I am today, and I was love, and I was love my husband, but that was another things what, the situationship, you just jumping on all these things with no knowledge. And now, again, coming to the BVI, the culture, it's so different. It's my first time I hear on the BVI, baby mama. I'm sorry, just saying. It's the first time, like in my country, if you're going to have a child with not be married, that's the bastard. It's called bastard. I'm not judging.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, I'm just very honest and I came here and they say, no, this baby mama stay with me in the house and I was like, what is this? And that's situationships and situationship until I give up. Not too, but just step back and I say, okay, let me see what it's around. And just slow down a little bit and just watching around. But situationship, there are a lot around.
Yeah, so there's a lot of misexpectations in terms of that. So let's take a step back. Everyone here, you could choose one. If it's the same one, it's fine. What are some of the things you think tear apart relationships, marriages? And for the audience, anytime you want to jump in, you could feel free. What are the things, your top things that separate a relationship? We'll go see a pastor, you get two. I'll give you two things that you can choose, that you, in your years of advice, if this audience was who are about to get married and you're about to give them advice, two things that they need to be very, very mindful of to ensure that they can have a successful relationship, marriage, etc.
Well, one would be maturity. I think a lot of folks get married and they're not mature. They don't understand who they are, first of all. So they don't know themselves. They're not mature physically, mentally, emotionally, and all the rest of it. So maturity is one of the things, because they're not able to maneuver through the different challenges of life because they're not mature enough to handle that. And that leads to a lot of things. But I think another big one would be dishonesty. And it depends on who you ask.
I'm sorry, lying? Did I lie?
Well, dishonesty.
Okay.
Yeah. I could develop that because it has different faces. Lying is one of them. But a lot of people...
Why is that so important, though,
Yeah.
that dishonesty part?
Yeah, dishonesty is, and I guess that's why a lot of people end up in situationships, because one person may be honest, they pour their hearts out, believing that you are receiving all that, only to find out that you were pretending. You were not serious about anything. But this whole matter of honesty, it has to do with accountability. There's some cousins to this whole matter of honesty. To just tell the truth. I know some people are challenged with that, but honesty is important. Now, I know, and let me just back up a little bit. When we are dating and courting, that could be considered the marketing phase, and some people never get over the marketing phase. Because when you're marketing, you're actually showing the best version of yourself. which may not be the true version of yourself. It's
Yeah,
just,
because you ever bought a car and
Yeah.
it's under the lights,
Yeah.
it looks all pretty,
Yeah.
but then you take it home and get a little dirty. You're like, I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, yeah. So you market yourself a certain way, and that's why grandmother told me, and there's a song that goes with it, take time to know her. Don't rush into it. So honesty is very critical, and you're not going to learn a person overnight. I'm not going to put a time frame on it, but you have to have sufficient time to be able to see the person in different aspects, not just one way, one aspect. And if you don't do that, you might be getting a 649. So honesty is critical.
We'll come back to you. Something, no, you have to choose something else that you think that destroys or could be a potential deal breaker or cause a significant fracture in a relationship. And when we say relationship, we're covering all aspects, right? Marriage, et cetera, because a marriage is just a committed public relationship, a covenant made with God, yeah? Situationship is just with you.
So my husband said honesty, so I would say trust, because I think they go hand in hand. If you don't trust me, I don't trust you. If the trust relationship is not there, you can't build a relationship. You have to be able to trust each other. If I say I'm going into West End, that's where I'm going. I'm not going to be in Rotong in somebody else's house.
I want to ask you a question about that, because this, I didn't quite hear that part till the end. That will change my question. I'm going to stick to my question, however, because you brought to some, maybe they're a plumber or electrician. That's why they're in different houses. The question that I was going to ask when you said about trust and honesty, is it just in terms of, in this modern society, right? You may not be aware of it. Some couples share their locations 24/7 on their phones, right?
I saw that recently.
You can put it.
No, I said I saw
You
that
saw that recently. What is your
I didn't know that.
what is your take on that?
Then where is the trust?
I
Yeah.
didn't even know what to think. I said, it has come to this that my husband can trace me wherever I am. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, well, if it come to that, he don't, the trust isn't there. But I guess it happens in some relationships because.
Do you think it's healthy?
No, it isn't. From my perspective, it isn't.
Okay, I know I wanted your opinion because we have to inflex the modern day realities, because these are things that people actually deal with. I could see, and seeing Pastor, we could get to this when we go down further, because some things may be important in terms of repairing when there's a breach of trust, something like that. It could be a temporary measure, but in repairing a trust after. But we'll get to that because there's steps that you have to do. But thank you, because someone asked me that question. I was like, I never thought about that. Yeah. Something that you think is a deal breaker that's hard.
It is a break-in, and that was break my marriage myself too. It's to not let everybody to be in your marriage. From your parents, I'm not saying the parents, they
So
are
privacy.
privacy.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking the parents cannot give you a good advice, but take the advice, don't take it home, everything. I'm not speaking about your good friend who will give you what her husband say at home. That's an advice. Again, don't take it home. But as well, because you're so young, you don't know, but I will suggest to everybody to mind their own business and their own home. And the relationship as well. I'm a very open person, but a lot of people don't know about me privately as a person, but they know about Studio One or everything else, but not too much about my intimate life. because I'm very private in that matter. And I just think that is very important. That's the one. And the second one, I will say in this busy time of life right now, how you said, is about quality time. We forgot to have a time to each other. We see just work, children, or everything else, but not together time. And that will be damage a lot, a relationship or any relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are good. I was going to say something similar to Nicole. I would say one kind of breakup factor would be, I think that you need to know and understand your trauma, and he or the opposite party needs to understand their trauma before you get in. Because if you don't, you can be interacting with each other and not knowing that you all are bumping heads because of something that happened to you 10 years ago, something that happened to him 5 years ago, and then you don't know why you're arguing because you don't even know that part of yourself. When I was even before we were dating, maybe even before we knew each other, we were dating. And one of my friends, she had gotten engaged or married early. And she said one thing, she said, you know, when you get married, it's like you both are just trying to figure out your trauma together and just trying to heal your trauma together. And that's how she explained it. I didn't understand it at the time, but I do. And if you don't understand that, it can definitely be break you up because you just will be arguing consistently and constantly, not knowing why. For the second one, I would say is that if you try to make your relationship look like somebody else's, whether it is a celebrity, whether it's somebody down the road, someone down the street, somebody you see in church, your coworker, and you're envying, you're eyeing, oh, they took that picture, we need to get that photographer. Oh, they went to this restaurant, we need to go there. And it's like, no, find your own identity as a married couple.
Now, here's the important thing, like all what you've said. So there's a book that I will recommend to everyone that is an amazing book that I and Senior Pastor Emeritus, we use in our work. It's called The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. The 7 Principles of Making Marriage Work. It's by Dr. Gottman, and it is an essential book. Now, it has a whole bunch of principles, the 7, but it talked about 5 or 6 signs that causes marriage and relationships to end. Now, let's go through them because a lot of us said them here. We said them here. So if they resonate, remember the 7 principles of making marriage work. They have them at local bookstores. They have them online. It is an essential book. You can listen to it. If you don't like sit down and read, you can listen to it in your ear. It is important. I remember when my wife and we struggled through reading it, and it was tough because it challenges you. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's easier than a divorce, though, so it's worth doing it, or a separation. So the first thing is some of the signs that you're headed for divorce. So this study, which Senior Pastor Emeritus does, and if you haven't, they studied over 500 couples over a longitudinal study of like 20 years. After a while, they were able to predict with 90-some% efficiency who's going to get divorced. 90-some% effectiveness of who predicting divorce. So I'm not going to read them in particular order, but first was a harsh startup. That is that people, when they start a conversation, it starts harsh. Harsh. It's rough.
It's harsh.
Right? A rough, I'm quoting from the book. He ain't nothing but a rough startup. The book said harsh. Right? That means that the conversation just starts rough. These conversations start rough, they're going to end rough. The next one is what we call, which is, if you don't remember anything else, remember these 4 things. They're called the 4 horsemen, right? The 4 horsemen are criticism, where you criticize the person and who they are. Criticism is not, here's the thing with the criticism, right? He says, I don't like you being late, right? That's just a comment. It's a little tough, but I don't like you being late. A criticism is, you are late because you don't care about nothing that has to do with me or my family. You do this. You spend money because you don't appreciate me. And now that's becoming, you're not only talking about the problem, you're talking about the person. The next thing, other horsemen, second one is contempt. Contempt. It's basically unforgiveness. Somebody did something to you a year ago, an argument just came up, and you're like, well, you remember when you did that, we were just dating. You looked at that person. Now, you've been married 15 years, but now contempt causes you to have a negative view of the person. So no matter what that person does, even if they try to say, I'm sorry, this, that, and other, it doesn't go any, it doesn't, that contempt, it's just you see them, you don't like them. That happens in relationships. Then the next one is defensiveness. You're just defensive. You don't, nothing can get through. Somebody says something to you, you have an answer. Well, you did this, so I did that. You did this, so I did that. Well, you're like, I don't like your rice. Well, I don't like your peas. It's just defensive. It's just an ongoing argument that has no real. And then the last one, where you know, that fourth horseman, where you know it's just the coming towards the end of the line, is what you call stonewalling. Defensiveness, you allow an argument. Stonewalling is that no matter what that person says, it doesn't get through. You've built up a wall. They could do all the things that you always ask them to do. They're coming to church with you. They're tithing. They're eating the bad food at your family's dinner. They're just doing everything, and nothing makes those four signs. Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling is a sign that you're headed towards divorce. And the last big one is failed emotional repairs. The person comes, they say sorry, they try to do better, and no matter what you do, it doesn't fix it. Now, I could say this because we repaired it the other day, so I don't remember what it was. And that's the thing with arguments. You don't really remember what they are. What was it? What was it? When I came out the bathroom, when I came out the bathroom. Oh, okay, so, yes, thank you. All right. This is great. You can laugh about it now, but it wasn't laughing matter. And then we'll transition to questions and stuff from you and from the audience, and if anyone has anything to add. Failed emotional attempts. So, last week, you almost lost your senior pastor. I was almost poisoned, right? So I came home. It was Thursday. Thursday is my long day, as everyone knows, at the clinic. Thursday or Tuesday. I think it was Thursday. I remember when I almost saw God, right? And, I'm continuing eating like the Daniel fast stuff because, it's just like how I feel. And I was hungry. I didn't eat all day. And I got home, my wife had a pizza that she made on the bed. Right? One pizza was downstairs, there was one in the bed. Of course, everyone knows your partner's food is better than yours. Right? You want to eat what they're eating, especially the women, right? So I went and I took the pizza up, shoop, 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 shoop. Oh, goodness. My throat started to swell up. And if you know, I got immediately upset. I was like, she really want this insurance money for real? She tried to come. Right? And then, so then, literally, which y'all think Minister Sean is this? Right?
You see my halo?
Right?
No?
Okay. At least not with me. Right? So I was like, why did you put this pizza here? And she said, I have pesto and this and another. I'm alert. Things start swelling up, saliva. I'm there. She's like, oh, come and give me a Benadryl. Me being a Tortola, I don't want a Benadryl. Let me just die in peace. I was like, let me just take some water. And I took some Listerine, and this, and I just took a shower. My mouth is getting, I'm just like, geez, this is a bad way to die.
What did I tell you, though?
Tell-
I said, this was not your pizza. Yours was in the oven, heated for when you get out of the shower. You have a nice hot pizza ready for you.
I didn't know. I saw a pizza there, and I was thinking, if you know I'm allergic, why are you bringing the devil's things into our house?
What? You don't eat it if you don't eat it?
No, this is the actual argument.
This is it. And so to which I said, but you just cooked lobster on Super Bowl.
But
What
I didn't eat it. I didn't eat the lobster. Right? So this goes on, right? Now we ain't talking to each other.
No, it didn't go on. I stopped.
She stopped. I wanted to continue because I almost died, right? So I go in the shower. I'm having a shower, right? And I'm like, all right, well, I didn't die. My mouth was still saliving, like, because, you're allergic. I could feel the mucus
Pesto
building.
has cashews in it. He's
It has
allergic
cashews.
to nuts.
I can't eat cashews, right? And, right? So I was in there, in the shower, and I was like, I didn't die. And I came out, I peeked around the corner. She was there, not happy. Not happy. I peeked around the corner. I was like, hey, I guess both of us are dramatic. And I ran back into the shower.
That's exactly what he said.
She started laughing. I started laughing. Guess what? The whole thing was finished. You know what that was? A successful emotional repair. We didn't have to say sorry. We said sorry after. But if when I came out, here's a failed repair attempt. I would have came out, said, hey, I guess we're both dramatic. She's like, hush your mouth. Right? Now here's what that does. It continues, she won't say that, right? But she wouldn't say that. But what it does, it will continue the argument. Because sometimes an emotional repair is somebody just come in and tap you on the shoulder or tap you on the butt and be like, hey, and you're like, all right. It's not that you're saying that you agree with what has happened, but it gives you a repair. Successful emotional repairs or relationship repairs are key to a friendship. Yeah?
And we even took it a step further because then I broke out my phone, my camera phone. We took a video of him being further dramatic, telling the world how...
Yeah, I did record a video.
Recorded a video about how I was trying to get the insurance money just
please.
like a 90-second video.
Please, it was a
It was
90-second
fun.
video.
It was
fun.
It was fun.
It was a bit embarrassing because the kids found it.
They were like,
Lock
"Mom."
your phones.
The next day, one of the kids was like, Mommy, what did you give Daddy to eat?
And I was like,
How do you know about that?
so, yes.
Yeah, I think I can summarize all of that from a biblical perspective, and it's called hard heart. So when we develop a hard heart, it's a summary of what you said and what the book says. And that's one of the things that the Bible says. People get divorced, their marriages or their relationships are in trouble because one or both of them have developed a hard heart. So what you heard described, if you don't remember all of that, remember this. If you ever become hard-hearted, then you're really down like a no return.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem because we all know, for example, when we were dating, we were so nice and forgiving, and it didn't matter. That's okay, baby. Yeah.
Everything is
You know,
perfect.
But now, for whatever reason, we've developed, one or both have developed a hard heart. So if relationship is going to work, there's going to have to be forgiveness, a lot of it.
And it can't be one-sided.
Of course.
You can't be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to forgive you. It might be hard, but you need to move
Or
forward.
never does anything wrong.
Because
Yeah,
if
man.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
well, there are a
Some
lot
people
of,
can't admit doing anything wrong.
and even if you're not able to say I'm sorry, you could come back and say, I'm dramatic, ain't I? Even if you can't say my bad, just correct it the next day. You know, like you don't. Everyone and I want to say this, and audience, now we want to open up for your questions. Hopefully you have questions, and First Lady's going to check online because we want to stimulate the questions. Yeah. And while we look for comments, I'm gonna bump down into the crowd.
I see.
Yeah. If you have questions,
I
yes.
see as well something like what women always do when they are angry, they start cleaning. I know it's a good thing. It's like a good mechanism to just step back and don't confront when you're really angry. That's okay. Or sometimes just walk away as a man, like to just step out from the house. And it's okay if that's working. It's okay, you know. But make sure you come back and just have some kind words to say to each other, because we all humans and we all have problems at work or in real life. Everybody have something. And when you're coming home, I'm just sometimes I just say to Dr. May, like just to hear every single day somebody have a problem. I don't think it's, you know, you're coming home and you just life. Sometimes you have bad days, and you know it's good to have somebody to come home and to understand. And sorry for your pizza, what's happened?
You guys can comment if there are any comments. We have any questions from anyone? Any questions so far? No? Like you have a whole bunch. Like even if we haven't brought the topic up
Come on.
as of yet. Any questions? No? Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. All right. So now I want to ask, we had some questions from some young people. And they had some amazing questions. They grilled Senior Pastor and Emeritus and us and First Lady. It says like,
That was a
Yeah.
revolution.
they asked, how do you ignore people's opinion about your relationship? And how important it is for you to ignore people's opinion of your relationship. I told you they had amazing questions. And this relationship, marriage, how do you ignore it? And how important is it to ignore people's opinion of your relationship? As you know, here in the BVI, no one cares about your relationship. No one talks about it. No one has an opinion. This is a question for people who don't live here.
Like how I like to say all the time, just make sure find your tribe. You can share all this intimate stuff with everybody. Find your real people who really can, because we all want to express our love from my boyfriend or my partner or somebody. But I will just say find that real person who you know when she's go out from that door will be not sharing with other people. And I think that will be answer to just try to minimalize how much you want to say about your relationship. Take the impact first, because everybody say, oh, and like in my case, everybody will be see me with somebody at a date somewhere, they'll be like, wow. And I'm like, Nicole, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I'm human, I will be date somebody. But just you give how much you want to give, because expect back to have that reaction from everybody. Like, oh, she's not good, or he's not good, he's doing this. Oh, I see he have 3 kids, you don't need this. Learn to know the person first, and then you can share what you have to share.
I think
Great.
ignoring somebody's opinion on your relationship. You and your husband know your relationship. So when somebody else come in, they come in as a third party, trying to destroy your relationship. Don't know what you and your husband, you as in the relationship have discussed and agreed upon, but they're taking it for granted that or I can come in and say something to you about your husband and, get you upset and get you thinking that, that person could be right. But a lot of times people's opinion on your relationship is that they probably want to get your husband or your wife. So they come and bring news and bring information that is not necessary to your relationship, building up of your relationship. So it doesn't matter what they say. The important thing, like I said earlier, is trust, honesty. Once you know what you have in your relationship, it's important to rely and to depend on that.
So let me ask for you more digging down a little bit because, I mean, you guys married for going on 47 years, but being in public light for 40 plus years, you've definitely had to deal with people's opinion. Yeah? Like, I mean, in a public sphere, like people have, I'm sure, although it wasn't, how do you handle that? You could, I mean, some of what you said, but even more
Yeah.
specifically.
A lot of times, first, it used to bother me. Like, they would come and say, oh, your husband is not a nice person, he's this and that. And I would go home and say to him, XYZ happened today, this person walked up to me. But then we would have a discussion. And over the years, I have learned through him, from him, that you don't have to study other person's opinion. What really matters is what we know we have and the foundation, what we are building and what we are building towards. And because of that, even though somebody comes and talk about him, I know that's not him. So right away, I can attest that it's okay, that's your opinion, that's how you feel, but that's not what I know. I know differently.
Yeah.
Can you believe, for example, that some people thought I was stuck up? Is he really? Okay. But here's the thing. I think what's important and what I shared with the young people on Saturday night is this. First of all, you have to set personal boundaries for yourself. You have to have boundaries. And when you are in a relationship, you also have to set boundaries for your relationship. I didn't answer the question about why marriage is important, but here's one thing that's critical that I think all of us need to take away. I subscribe to the Christian way. So as much as I learn other stuff, my basis is Scripture. And God is a social God, and He made us in His image. And so we do not live as hermits. We live in a society. And in our society, it's important for us to have marriage. And of course, that's being diluted in different ways. But getting back to a specific question about your relationship and how do you keep people at bay? It's important that you and your spouse, you and your significant other, whatever the relationship is, that you have candid conversations with each other. This whole matter of honesty and transparency and accountability, it all comes together, because if you don't have that, if you don't talk to each other, somebody else is going to have an opinion. And the people outside, especially, and I don't mean anything funny about it, but I've found out people have an eye for happiness, and they always envy that. And they also know when you've had a little spat at home. There's some people who can pick up that you're not your good self today, that something is wrong, and they try to prey on that. So set your boundaries. Now, there's a place for other people's opinion, like a mentor. I believe every married couple should have a mentor. I believe every person should have a mentor. That's different from mete people, okay? That's a different thing. So there's a sense which you have to involve other people in your relationship where you can be accountable. That's mentorship. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the other people who like to meddle. Keep them out. Do not ever give anybody, as a man or woman, any chance of thinking that they can compete for a place for your commitment. No shape or form. I don't care how rocky your relationship is, you work it out. Be careful what you say to other people, especially those who pretend to be friends.
Yeah, it's a vital thing. Now, I want to ask for people who are thinking about getting married, being in a relationship, becoming serious. Just a quick answer: is marriage counseling important? Yes or no? Just say yes. Yes.
Yes.
You think it's
Definitely.
Yes.
yes. And
I wish to know about that.
I'm sorry?
before. It's like I wish to know that about counseling before. We was not have something like this and that time. Speaking about, my goodness, I'm that old now. I'm not saying the age. Years ago.
yeah,
We don't have that.
We do marriage therapy with people, Senior Pastor and I, in conversations. You'll be surprised that the marriage is. That's why some of them we recommend, hey, don't pick a date before you come to marriage therapy, because we might have to move the date. There have been people who were getting married that didn't know that the other person didn't want to have kids. They also didn't agree that they should have joint accounts. They also never talked about, would their mother-in-law, if they got sick, X, Y, and Z, move into the house? Or they didn't think about how many kids they're going to have, or where the kids are going to go to school. And these were what you call, later down, irreconcilable differences that were grounds for divorce. Because the other person just assumed. And they mentioned it in a casual, and here's some of the things that happened. They were watching a movie, the people had kids, the couple said, oh, that's cute. And the guy was like, cool. And I was like, well, I didn't say, I said that's cute for them. That didn't mean it was cute for me. So marriage counseling allows you to work out and gives you a nice foundation. It's not the key, but it gives you a foundation to know where you are and know where you are building from.
I think also it gives you the, even before you're engaged, some people do like like couples counseling as well, but it gives you an outside party to the relationship to ask the hard questions that maybe you're not exactly courageous enough to ask each other, or even sometimes ask yourself. I was doing a marriage counseling with this couple, and the lady, she had trauma, like I said, with her finances with her parents before, and her parents were divorced, etc. So she did not want to create a budget. She had a visceral reaction. She didn't believe in it because she didn't want to ever think about lack, where he was a little bit different, and so they had to work that out, but they didn't know that before they went to these counseling sessions. And could you imagine down the line, one is like, oh, I want a budget to have this, I want to buy this car, vacation. The other one's like, absolutely not. It's good.
So
As well as the child trauma, what you have in the in a childhood time, it can happen in adult time, and you just maybe you don't want to have a child, or you don't want to have something just because in your childhood somebody telling you don't, that's wrong. That's, you see, today I will be, maybe a few years ago I would be saying, oh, I would love to have a baby, but because the mentality of no, you need to do this, you need to do that, it's everything wrong. It's nothing wrong if you have a good heart and you want to do that by heart and your spirit, and it's nothing wrong in that.
So I have one more question for the young people. I don't know if anyone has any questions. And we're going to change for the last moments that we have here. Has any one of you have to give your partner a second chance after a breakup or misunderstanding. Has anyone have to give your partner a second chance or as a breakup, and why?
I will say I wish to have this mind 25 years ago. And definitely I will be work on my marriage and not let that go away.
Yeah. Married people, do you give your partners a second chance?
Well, I'll talk about the many chances she had to give me. So I preface it by first thanking you, my babe, for putting up with me and for forgiving me, and not just a second, but many chances.
Yeah, we had to give each other a second chance. I had to give him a second chance when when we just got married. You know, it's a compromise because I have to learn him, he have to learn me. And when you just discuss, we're not going to do X, Y, Z. You're not going to come home and go in the shower and drop your clothes. You're not going to leave your plate. You're not going to leave your water bottle or your cup. You're going to clean up after yourself. So, yeah, those things like those, or, you know, yeah, second chance. Second chances are good because they come in very, very good in the evening.
I, she didn't say it, but I think she's talking about the making up. It's
Yeah.
usually beautiful. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I
There might be children listening, so we just put it that way.
I operate under I
It's the
get
book time and
I
talking
operate I
time.
get 7 new chances every Monday. That's how I do. 7 every Monday, and I try not to use them all out before they replenish. Because life is real. One of the things that I want to share is now, let's move towards the end. Let's end a little spicy. Now, it's always good that communication, and don't blush, Nicole. So, in the 5 love languages, there are 5 love languages that are primary and secondary. The first one is words of affirmation. Yes, church,
Amen.
I've been preaching about this for the last several weeks. Words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, all these things are great, but if you don't have the communication, honesty, and this, that, and other, it doesn't work. Now, most of the men up here, it has been ruled, and we're going to send this out, so make sure you register because we're going to send the quiz out for free, the love language quiz. So just register, take a picture of the QR code. You can take your love language quiz for free after. It takes like 5 minutes so you can know what your love language is. But let's talk about, all these things are great, senior pastor. These things are phenomenal, right? In a relationship. The communication, the honesty, the transparency, the willing to build. You're old enough. You're old enough. Yeah, you're old enough. You're about to be 16. Anyway, you were here because of this topic. Boy, pastor's kids get embarrassed so much. It's just ridiculous. All right, there goes the uncomfortable face. So physical touch. How important is intimacy and sex in keeping a relationship and marriage healthy?
Very.
I'm sorry? What happened?
We need to hear that. That's a good laugh there.
All right, that was a good laugh from the crowd.
Very, very. Let me answer the question this way. With the love languages, your love languages can also change as you grow and develop as well. So I'll use an example. Early on, well, mine is, of course, y'all already know, words of affirmation. You know, that's primary. But my last on the list, I don't even know if it was on the list, early in our marriage was physical touch. I was like, no public displays of affection. I don't want to be walking around looking like somebody's trophy wife. Like, I don't want it, right? Private, private. But that is because I was not comfortable in my own skin in a lot of ways, and I had harsh relationships with other people before, so I did not want to put myself out there. And even though we're talking about being married for all these nice years, I'm an only child, and I come from divorced parents. My parents were divorced since I was 1. So I didn't have a model. I didn't have, like my wonderful husband, a model of relationship, someone who had been together for, 20-something, years. But over time, it's totally switched. And now physical touch is my number one. Sir.
Somebody's smiling.
Someone said amen. Okay, it's my number one love language now. In public, in church, in restaurants, wherever, airport.
All right, now, guys. All right.
So
Amen.
it's very important, and also to connect, especially because life gets busy, life gets hard, life gets challenging as well. And so you want to be able to fall into someone's arms. I used this before. I love to just lay my head on his chest because then I can feel his heartbeat. And it regulates my nervous system. It regulates my body so I can calm down from the day.
You're welcome. But that is actually a proven study that men, just so you know, it's a proven study, it's a scientific fact. If I find it, I'll put it in the chat for the people who signed up. That women who have high anxieties and flux of emotions during the day, one of the best things that a man can do at the end of the day is allow her to lay on your chest because it does regulate her hormones, emotions, and anxiety, right? And sirs, when she's now calmed down, you're welcome. That's all I'm gonna say. Nicole, like you guys could.
No,
We gonna save you for last. Wait,
Y'all got the good stuff.
Let the women talk about this stuff first.
all right, let him go.
Let.
For me, the physical touch, the same things I think was the last on the page, as well as a child trauma. And I was and today, if you see me on Sundays in church, or I'm a very, like everybody, how would say that? I'm going to hug you, but you're not coming to hug me, because I am having the reaction of not touching people. But when I come, I'm a very hugger person, but I'm coming to you. It's just because of the child trauma. But what's happened, exactly how you, Dr. Mike said, I just realized in time now, growing, being a lot of therapy as well, and thank you for that as well. There are almost 3 years going on the therapy. It's helping you to understand the real touch. It's good. It's something to grow, and like today, if somebody coming and hug me and I can really feel the entire energy of a person, it's kind or not. Or you cannot coming and hug me because I know your energy, it's not okay. But just because it's happened for the fair and everything was happened in the childhood. And I think it's a lot of kids as well who have this problem today in the BVI, having that very trauma from home, where they see parents, how they beat each other, or the violation, or all these things. You can see a lot in the kids. And I can see that because, see some familiarities, and it's important to grow and touching, because touching, it's very important to develop yourself in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the touchy-feely, I'm a touchy-feely person. Even at home, yeah. The touch, I remember when we got married, I used to like to go down his legs because he had
All right, now we have.
a lot of hair on his body and just, you know.
All right, guys, let's
So that
keep the camera on that up here. All right.
that was so important for me. So the touchy feeling. I mean, growing up, we didn't have that. To be honest with you, you know your mom loved you. You know your father loved you. They provided, and in those days, that's what they know to do. And we know, I know they loved me because they would pray for us and pray for me. But that whole touch and feeling accepted and knowing that you are loved came a lot and developed for me a lot after we got married. You know, it really helped me. And with that, I was able to tell my kids, our kids, you know, that we love them, give them a hug. Well, they come so big so quickly, you couldn't kiss them anymore. But yeah, I think the touch feeling came for me a lot after we got married.
Pastor, I want to ask you a question about this because this is important because do you know the statistics are 50% of Christian marriages end in divorce? 50% of Christian marriages end in divorce. And 55 to 60% of marriages in general end in divorce. So you might be thinking, why does it end? One of the reasons I feel that, along with all the things that we've said, is that Christians have a misperception about sex and intercourse. They get saved, and their bedroom gets saved. We need to monitor this side of the crowd. You guys didn't hear it online, but thank you.
But just sorry,
There's
Yeah.
so I don't forget. I don't because I don't yeah, right, and I will just keep it in. As a pastor, 47 years. I mean, you understand what is this thing about Christians and feeling like they're limited in that part of their life in terms of not, and I want to get really specific because I'm talking about the intimacy and this stuff and the respect and the communication. We're not, all those things are very important. I counseled a couple, okay, that you guys are going to laugh, but people are struggling with these things, and Senior Pastor, you could help me, is that feeling that they should only have intercourse in a missionary position.
Well,
You guys heard me?
yeah.
That's their people, like, what, like, you imagine?
Yeah.
My God. Sorry, non-judgmental.
Yeah.
What is the biblical stance? What is
Well, that's a good place to start
yeah,
to be a good
yeah.
missionary, but don't stay there. He told us to spread the word, you know. I couldn't
See,
even go through that.
they're still my parents, so it's kind of
Well,
weird.
let's go.
You know?
No, here it is. You can be saved, spiritual, and sexy at the same time. I tell people when I'm making love to my wife, I'm worshiping. No, that's not a joke. That's for real. That's for real. So no, this taboo, and I guess is how we grew up. Let me go back a little bit because when I was growing up, and I guess I escaped that because I had a mind of my own and I was reading early. But there was a lot of things you couldn't do as a Christian because Christianity was a set of rules, and it was usually in the negative. Can't do that, can't do this. So this whole matter, church has taught people how to be phony, how to be really phony. So a lot of times in the audience, when you saw those ladies get in the spirit, it wasn't all spirit. Well, because they had to pretend. And that's the dangerous thing about church, when you're not being real and when you're not being true. So we grew up with this taboo stuff. You couldn't talk about sex in church. There was a time when you couldn't do it. You couldn't say the word. You couldn't even say the word, you know. And so we have come a long way. But touch is very critical. Touch is very essential. As a matter of fact, I have a friend, and we talk about it often, and his concept, having understood what we both understand, is that you really can't have a good marriage without good sex. It's important. It's critical. Don't ever downplay it. It has to be done within the confines, because we are people of faith. God sets the boundaries of how to make it, and because you don't just want to have sex, you want to have intimacy. It's a step above just sex. But don't ever downplay. So if you, for example, as a lady, come to me and complain that your husband is chasing you too often, I can't help you, because I have the same problem, and I don't want to be helped. So,
all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we have come to this point in our panel, but no, we're winding down. We're going to do it 5 more minutes. Does anyone have any questions from the audience? We have some comments online that say premarital counseling is vital and important. Obviously, there's so many different areas that we could hit, and we're going to have a later marriage plan in the past. Anyone has any questions? Any questions? Anyone? Any comments? Anyone bold enough? Yes. Can you come forward just a little bit to make it a little easier? The mic is out front. So as we come, any comments? Now, as we are going to this, we're going to ask the panel, and I know, Sister, you had a comment, so I want to share your comment.
The comment was like, you just say it's like 50% of the Christian marriage, they get divorced or include a divorce. I'm just thinking as well, exactly what you just say, we never speak out of a relationship. Like how you can say you go married and before was you cannot go married if you are not virgin. Just remember that time when you cannot be going on a marriage without. Just imagine my mom, she just said to me, my skirt was a little more shorter, you look like something else. A whore, exactly. And you just having all these things, you never have a discussion, and you just reach in the marriage. And you're reaching the marriage when the husband just try to touching you or something, and you be like, this is a whore doing. It's not good, It's your mentality all the time. Is the conversation open like this for younger ones as well?
Yeah.
For this divorce that happens.
You have a question? Comment?
Yes. I don't want to go away necessarily from what we are talking about right now.
Yeah, but no, this is
okay.
This is you're open to ask.
I wanted to mention that there are a lot of young people, young adults, especially ladies, who are looking for a spouse, someone permanently. And as a cultural tradition, there is, I don't know if taboo is the correct word, in terms of having multiple dates.
Yes.
So I just wanted to raise that and ask if any of the panelists can give some perspective to young people.
Great question.
Going on, seeing different person in search of a permanent partner.
Thank you so much. The question is about dating. The young people, we couldn't answer, they asked that question as well. So thank you for bringing that up. Just what's the importance of dating? I'm from Tortola. We don't date. I like you, you like me, right?
Right.
We text a couple times back and forth. What are we doing? We together? Are we together? What are we doing?
Okay, let me tell you about that.
I mean, so that's in my culture, like, so when I started meeting my wife, she's like, she didn't know it. But the first time we went out, we were together. I had planned the wedding and everything. Like, But she, in her mind, I remember one day she was like, yeah, I decided to only start to talk to you. I was like, what? I didn't know so she said, I'm putting my focus only on you. Look me. I was like, what? Culturally, is
Yes.
not, culturally,
Yeah.
and I'm not even, I could even, just going back to my age, right? I did it, going out with multiple people? What?
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, even as a guy, you could do it, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So since she's dating,
Come on, BVI 15 years ago, when I heard this for the first time, the same things, I was like, what? Like, no, we just dating. I say, what is dating? Because first I was like, and my country, where I'm coming from, when you hold the hands for a man, or he kiss you, or hold you, that's your partner. We don't care if you broken in 2 days, or is not working in a month. That's your partner. You can't just like go jumping. I arrived in the BVI, and so I said, no, I'm dating this. I'm having another date on Friday with I don't know who. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, wow. See, maybe it's the culture. It's like, maybe it's something different. But I think I was in the wrong tribe. Say.
Just to add on, yeah, the cultural difference is real. But my mom, again, because history, my mom is divorced, right? So she's like, make sure you take your time before you get into a very serious relationship. And so the dating is really just getting to know the person. It's not sleeping with the person. It is getting to know people, personalities, things of that nature. Yeah, and so that's what it was. But it's also, for me, making sure I don't get in a serious relationship with someone who just got out of a serious relationship, and then also someone who is not focused or serious
She
on
talking
me.
about me. She talking about me. So what happened is,
See, what had happened was,
right? You can't just say that and
I
not.
just said it generally.
So I was in a relationship before I met her, and we're like, I think she made me wait like 8, 9 months. And she used to say,
year.
I need to make sure you are fully healed and you're not bringing the baggage of your.
Correct.
This ain't what we do, Tortola.
Correct.
I done with that person. We together. Let's figure it out. I would just say, that's where, in all honesty, being able to listen, I'm very strong-willed, if you don't know.
Really?
See, this is what I live with. You see the
I
sarcasm
love
that
you
just
guys.
came up? Right? Right? But if you say it and you mean it, you say, if you're going to say something, mean it. I'm not going to tell you that I'm listening to you. I'm not going to show, because I have to be strong and be steady. When I walk away, I'll be like, that kind of makes sense. And I'll come back. I won't say you were right. I'll be like, well, let's just see how this works out. Everyone has their way, but dating, I would really, especially when it is important before, and I would just say, if you're dating people and dating should not include sex. Because the minute you do that, you're tying yourself spiritually, emotionally to a person, and it is hard to start to distinguish whether you're in a relationship, whether you're dating, what is going on. Because you've taken a leap of intimacy before you even know if the person says peas and rice or rice and peas. And then you're sleeping with somebody that says rice and peas, but you like peas and rice. And now you have merged spirits, souls, and stuff, and now you're caught up, find out that you're merged with someone that you don't really like. You don't really like them, but you have a soul tie, and now you're trying to make a decision dating when you're being intimate. It's kind of like putting 3 grapes in your mouth at one time and trying to tell me which one tastes better. It's impossible. You can't be sampling that deep. You have to get to know people, and have cursory, and that needs to evolve. What do you think about that the need and the importance for that evolution?
I think in today's world, dating is important. When I was growing up, that wasn't common. That wasn't known.
But
because
didn't you have something like courting though?
when you do courting,
Yeah, but by that time, you've already committed.
Oh, really? Courting, you
Courting.
committed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
But how did you know? Sorry, this is very interesting to me. How do you know to court?
Well, it was for me. Okay, before him, I had one other relationship.
Really? I didn't know. You need to tell me
Yeah.
about this.
Yes. And my heart was broken because the person used to play a nice saxophone.
Oh, I remember this person. I remember that. I was growing up. I think I was a teenager, and he
You
died.
were a teenager.
Teenager, older. No, older. He
Yes.
died.
Yes.
And my mom was just crying. I was like,
But we were
"Ah!" And I was
already
like,
married.
and my parents were married. I was like, why is mom crying over this man?
No.
And my dad came out. My dad was so nice. He hugged her. He said, I
Because
understand.
he
And
was
I was
the
like,
one- he was the
I was like,
one
this
who-
is weird.
Yeah.
Why is my mama crying over another man that
He
just
was-
died?
he
I
was
don't
the
understand what's going on in this household. This is crazy.
He was the one who came
And I just
told
walked
us.
away, and my mom was all sad. And then they had the funeral. I was like, I ain't going to no funeral for no other man. My
No,
daddy's right here.
I didn't go. I didn't go. But that was my first
how I felt.
relationship before him. So that was the date. But you know how we break up? What happened? My mom, one morning, early in the morning, or probably about 5 o'clock, she called me. She said, Maureen, come here. I need to say something to you. And I said, Lord, what I do now? I know I am not involved sexually, so I am pregnant. I know that for sure. And then she said, I'm not going to be choosing for you or any one of your sisters. But she said, you see that relationship you're in? You need to get out of it. It's not good for you. And I said, but at that time, I knew within myself it was going to work because he was dating quite a number of persons. And when my mom told me that, it confirmed everything that I was seeing
Yes.
and feeling. So, yeah, with him, we started. It was the plaiting of the hair.
Oh, so
So we started
so
going out.
so
and-
it was a mutual. It started off, and this is important because this is where I want to end. Yeah, we want to end for tonight because this is. I want you to what you just shared. It started off with the plaiting of his hair. So he had an afro. He used to plait his hair just to lose it out the same night. Because he couldn't walk around with his hair braided, right?
Well, he used to walk with a tam, but
Uh,
sometimes a tam,
what's-
a
I
hat.
don't-
A couple.
Oh, like the Black Panther hat.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So when you finish braided,
I really didn't know what it was.
After church, he would come and, I would braid it and I would lose out a couple more braids what I braid already. And
Oh, you didn't know that. So wow, ladies, to get him to stay, you braid the hair, but while you when you almost finished, you loose out a couple more so you can stay. You see the tricks?
What we doing with the one who don't have hair?
Smooth with it.
Yeah. Now, I want to say this.
That's a good question.
So I want to give you guys, as we think for the last couple moments, something that you will say to someone in terms of relationship advice, marriage advice. It could be anything. I want you to think about what that is, and I'll let you go. I know, guys, you may have more questions. We're going to continue these life series, and next month we're going to have our transformation series where we tell people who've changed their life from different ways to live a new life and why, because it's evangelism month. A month is a series, is on pathways. We're going to have evangelism outreach, but we want you to be able to know that you can change. So Now, for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, give us something that you want people to know about relationships and marriage, etc.
For both the men and the women, I want you to get to know yourself, get to know how to love yourself, get to know what you like, what you don't like, what foods you like. This is not coming to America where you're just going to do whatever, he says, whatever he likes is what you like. No, get to know what you like, but also understand that once you get into the relationship, it's okay to grow, and maybe what you like 5 years ago, you don't like now. But it's also very important that you're growing together. So if I'm growing, but he's not growing, he's growing, and I'm not growing, then we're unequally yoked, going back to biblical terms, right? And so I think that is so important to grow together, but also just to really know yourself, because I'm seeing a lot of people, celebrities and otherwise, who are getting divorced because they want to find freedom. But you can find freedom within your relationship, and you can know yourself as well. You don't have to leave the relationship to find who you are.
Yes, as you see my wife chop the hair off. In Jesus' name, I am so proud of myself.
And he loves it.
Maybe I like it a little bit.
He
A
loves
lot.
it.
I actually like it a lot. Wow. The difference 18 years made.
That's growth.
That's a lot of growth. Because I met my wife, she had this long, I was like,
He even brought up his grandmother. My grandmother had long hair. You have
and
long
this
hair.
my
all that,
grandfather,
yeah.
my
Yeah.
father's father said,
Yes.
told me, this is the, I will say this, I know it's a sidetrack. You have to be careful what you tell your children about relationships because it sticks. My grandfather, his dad, told me, he said, Mikey, find a nice, he said, your grandmother used to come, he told me, used to ride a horse, and she was
Yep, he
tall
told me, yep.
and slender, and she had this beautiful, thick skin and hair. I was like, all right, I'm going to find someone
Noted.
tall, long hair, and she used to ride horses.
I did,
Anyway,
yeah.
continue. It's important what you speak into your children's life and what they see. Your advice.
My advice is for the younger one as well, and or for the people who get out from a relationship or divorce, and they trying to not try go on other relationships or dating, or I will just say put on the table what you really wanted, because it's important, and don't do this. Just be fair from the beginning what you really wanted. From I want kids or I'm not want kids. I want to be married by 3 years from now. I want sharing accounts. What's your debits? What's my credits? Make sure if you growing and like at my age at 43, I will just definitely I'm going to put these questions on the table. As a very young one, just say, what do you want to do in 5 years from now? Do you want to college? Do you want to put some $20 on the day that's $7,000 in a year? Can we do something? We do travel, or we just buy a piece of land? I want to see a conversation at the table. That's what I will encourage everybody to do.
That's really great. Yes?
For me, I would encourage married couples and people who are planning on getting married. Know yourself. Love yourself. Know what you want. When you come together, you discuss it. Be on the same page. Communication is very important. Building a relationship, and especially after you get married and you have children, it's good to live a life that's meaningful. Be honest in front of your children, at home, at work. I think that helps the relationship. That helps the marriage when I am honest, when we are honest with each other, and we can be true. Our children can see us in church and know that we are the same persons at home or at work or wherever we are. So honesty, communication is essential in a relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah, this life series very important, especially about relationships. And Pastor, one of the challenges we've had and will continue to have is that we have more women in the church than men, and then we have less committed men, generally speaking. So it's a tough decision. So when it comes to dating, make sure you be honest with yourself that you are dating. Don't be doing something else and call it dating. There's got to be some boundaries that you set, because if you start violating yourself and allow others to violate you, it's going to come back to haunt you, because you're going to have a whole lot of comparative stuff in your head. So when the real one comes up, you're going to expect him to be like that one and this one and that one and all kinds of spirits. So take time to get to know yourself, believe in yourself, trust yourself, and don't rush. Don't try to be like anybody else. You can learn from everyone, including relationships, but at the end of the day, you've got to hammer out what fits you and what fits your relationship. So this is a good start, and I hope that we continue to talk like this.
So as we end, I want to thank, first of all, our very brave panel. I think now that people see that it's not inquisition that we could have, because have you learned something that was meaningful tonight or helpful? We want to say congratulations to our panel. We'll give them a round of applause. We're thankful for you all and your courage and your honesty. This is the first and not the last of such honest conversations. And when you have suggestions in the QR code, you could say, well, I want you guys to concentrate on this topic a little bit more or that topic a little bit more. And we will do so. We learn and have feedback from you. At the end of the Gottman book, it says, the most essential part of having a successful relationship and marriage is friendship. Friendship. It describes marriage as a foundation of friendship. Well, if you don't have a strong friendship, when the winds and waves of life come, your relationship and your foundation is going to be ruined. It says basically, a friend will look out, a friend will trust, a friend will love, a friend will communicate, a friend will forgive. You just need to ask yourself, is the person I'm dating, marrying, in a relationship, are they a friend? Because after a while, all the fancy stuff, they may gain weight, lose weight, this and stuff, they may get sick, they may get ill, but guess what? A friend sticks by. A friend respects. A friend honors. Be a friend, and that will lead to a great relationship, a great marriage, because friend sticks closer than anyone else. May God bless you, keep you, and on behalf of King Arm Baptist Church, this August panel, First Lady and I, and everyone who's joined us, we say thank you for joining us, and God bless you. So thank you, and good night. Yes? So may the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from another. Amen. God bless you. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, I want to welcome you back to life, back to the one that can make your best chapter. Hallelujah.